All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Odd Taxi, episode 7. All right. Okay.
We had bullets get fired
It's
last
getting
episode.
a little scary.
Just a bit dicey. And also some new complications as far as relationships and dynamics and who knows who and who may or may not be dating who and power dynamics and popularity and
Mystery Kiss keeps moving up in potency within the story.
Right.
Their influence and the ways in which they're even in some ways maybe more centrally connected than even Otakawa is to the whole thing.
It's possible. But then we also...
Oh, no, keep going.
Well, we also had that stuff with Kakehana that felt very out of place and almost like it was maybe setting up something for a future episode, which could be this one. But,
but also just having Otakawa now have these near brushes with death.
Right.
Like, really close.
And they might be getting worse because he's going to be helping
Dobu. Exactly.
With
helping out
Steph.
With all that. So, all right, let's escalate. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
A good episode that advanced the main plot. We got also a lot of funny moments this episode.
Yes,
we were introduced to Yano officially.
God.
Oh my God. He raps. He raps.
He does. And he's quite good at it.
He's quite good at it, but he doesn't stop. He
that's the main thing.
Does it constantly.
He's consistent. He works the grind of rapping.
He's a method man.
Yeah. And I mean, some of his raps I was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever.
Sure, whatever.
But the fact that he manages to do it, right? That's a level of planning with what he's going to say and things like that. That's just, it's damn impressive. Okay.
And you can definitely tell there were times where he's like, oh, I need to use English to match this up rhyming wise, but it was really fun.
Yep.
Okay. That's its own thing there. Lots of things really hinted at this episode.
Yeah.
But the first scene, really, the first main scene being the one with the little Daimon and Otakawa.
Yep.
As he helps bring him into his side of things so that he can have protection against the whole Dobu situation going in a bad way for him, but also to stop Dobu because Dobu's not a great person.
Well, and then also whoever's trying to kill him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So all this working out really well for Otakawa thus far.
Yep.
But also in a lot of ways, reaffirming this show's themes of masks. And the idea that everyone wears one with regards to that other side of themselves that they're not showing you. Then the other side of things is the social media, online presence side of things as well. The
non-literal masks.
The masks that people present to get certain results from people. And then the other side of things is that, there's this kind of criminal dark underbelly to a lot of the story that's going on here thus far. And a lot of characters are involved in some dirty shit.
Yeah.
And
it goes into some pretty crazy places. The
potentially,
the whole idea of Mystery Kiss being this involved and doing it as a means of side income for getting stuff from people that basically match with the members that are the masked members, and this is important. On the dating sites, right? And because they're masked, they don't have any way of recognizing them necessarily, right? They can, they can do their thing, and then they bring in the money. And I guess I'm not entirely sure how they, whether it's because they get them to go into debt and borrow money from Yano basically,
Maybe.
and then he has a foothold on them and interest and all of that stuff. He can extort them for whatever
for forever,
right?
Maybe,
or if it's because they actually managed to figure out some way to get liquid assets from the gifts or something like that.
Yeah, it depends.
The people get them, and then that's another way to get money.
It really depends. The details of it is that they're literally in bed with each other basically, and then we have many ways in which it could have gone because we were suspecting in a lot of ways that Nikaido was involved with the murder, potentially. But now it's the kind of thing of where, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It could have been that they kind of just wanted her out of the way.
Sure.
So the manager's like, okay, I'll have Yano take care of it.
Right. Or you know, oh, you guys aren't wanting to work with me? Yep. Well, too bad. You're kind of in too deep. If you stop, I'll take away another one of your masked members. You can just replace him with someone else. Because Yano really does feel like the person who caused the killing to happen, even if he wasn't the one who actually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, he might not have actually done it.
Right, but like one of the people connected to him, right? Because the whole thing of, if you aren't here on time, it'll happen again. That was very pointed. Yeah. So, you know, okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But, okay. That's Yano. That's Yano's whole side of things, and then the little bit of sides of things with Daimon, then Dobu.
I loved the little Daimon stuff. That was...
Otokawa, though, got some serious new renewed focus, though, here as well.
He did.
We got to see him in his apartment, or in his house, really, after little Daimon left.
Yeah.
And he was like, good girl, when they found the body.
Right.
And then
you won't be able to get out now, when he, like, taped up the broken glass in the window. Like, that...
What was that?
Yeah. Like... And then we had the kind of confirmation of Goriki and Shirakawa, and him being like, well, we need to treat Otokawa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this being the thing of, okay, whatever we had been doing with him before this was the kind of thing of where, like, he couldn't really do enough.
Right.
That's why he wanted him to go to a better facility of sorts. So whatever's going on with Otokawa, it's the kind of thing that is mental.
They had an image of his brain, yeah.
Yep. It looked fine. Like, it looked fine. All things considered.
I'm no brain surgeon. I don't know.
I'm not a brain surgeon either, but I can bring up the part. But it was just this thing of where, okay, wow, good. I'm really glad that they're able to reconcile this. There's able to be, you know, not necessarily forgiveness, but a form of restitution.
Understanding.
Yeah.
Right, and it seems like Dobu is holding up his end of the bargain with, you know, letting Shirakawa go and everything, so cool. Yeah. And they didn't say anything on the medical record of, like, what they think it might be, you know? Like, that was something
that felt a little bit weird. Was
right.
That we just see his
MRI or whatever.
Well, yeah, his MRI is the other thing there, but it looks like it's covering up the
diagnosis,
it's covering
and the
up
notes.
the other stuff in the notes. Yeah.
Sure.
So we have basically on October 2021 or something there, or what have you.
Right.
There was a scan that was done here, a CT scan. It looks like.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But
right, but the actual image itself is covering it up because it's not connected to that page because it's like at an angle and everything.
Yeah, so I was like, oh man, we don't actually get to know what it is. So I want to say, if anything, it's more like it's something that's probably a little bit more psychological, and thus it's really hard for them to just look at a brain scan and be like, this is what's wrong with him.
Right.
But on some level, I think that Otokawa is... his mind is playing tricks on him.
Yep.
There's an aspect of who or what he's interacting with in the closet that is not interacting back with him.
And that's one of the things.
This is just something where he's not in reality.
Right. And one of the things that kind of felt odd about this is that if he has some mental issue that is why he's talking to someone that's in the closet that isn't actually there.
Yeah.
He was very relaxed about little Daimon going and checking that closet,
yes.
Right?
So it's not something that...
Yeah, like it could be that he's just a very stoic person and was doing a really good job of, like, keeping his composure, you know? But it really felt to me like it's the no.
Yeah.
I have nothing to hide, which then feels at odds with, you know, the way he the way he talks when he's alone.
Yeah, general thing that I would say is that there is an aspect of Otokawa that is in conflict within himself. One is the idea that his mind is playing tricks on him on some level.
Yeah.
The other is that he doesn't seem to have good access to his emotions.
Sure.
He seems like the kind of person who is emotionally, like, asymptomatic on some level. Like, he doesn't... I'm not saying that he's necessarily like a sociopath necessarily.
No, right. But there's some part of that side of him that wasn't able to fully develop in the same way that a lot of people get to have their emotions develop.
Right. However, based on the nightmare or traumatized memory of what happened in the very, 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 very beginning of the show with the body going into the water and him like waking up in a cold sweat.
Right. Like
there's something that he knows that he's either having his own mind protect him from.
Yep.
Like let's say he did kill the high school girl, right? Let's say he did drown her. His mind might be creating this false reality where he didn't do that. So it is maybe some aspect of a little bit of a Fight Club kind of thing where he's using that own thing as a defense mechanism to keep him from having his life be just entirely crippled under the guilt of doing something awful. Or it's just the idea that maybe he knows something really awful that happened. And it's just the burden of knowing something, but maybe not being able to do anything about it. Or
so what I would, if there was any kind of like sense of guilt where he wasn't directly like the person who killed, the girl who went missing, what I'm guessing is that it's something where he drove her to the place of her demise or something, right?
Exactly.
And so he feels guilty because he kind of maybe helped it happen.
He didn't see the signs. Maybe.
Right, he didn't see the signs, or maybe once he sees that it did go badly, he wasn't able to help because he's just a taxi driver, and so he kind of witnesses this. That's why the body going into the river is shown alongside Otokawa at the very beginning of the show, even if he wasn't someone who was like throwing the body in, because he's like, oh shit, this is what happened. I recognize her face. I can see that she's not a part of Mystery Kiss anymore or something, because even with the masks on, I can tell it's not her, or, something.
Right. Like, he might know literally the kind of thing of that she was murdered before they even announced that she was missing.
Right.
Like, that's why the image happens is that he's like, oh, something's wrong. So after dropping her off, he goes back to, like, find her to make sure she's okay.
Sure.
And he sees, like, some people in shadows chucking a body into the river or the lake or whatever.
Yep.
So he might have constructed the idea that, oh, in the closet, I actually took her back to my place,
right? And
she's safe here, and nothing bad will happen to her.
Yeah, you're all good,
Yeah. You won't get out. It's okay. It's like,
right.
Whatever that is with his closet, that is some aspect of his brain. It has to be some aspect of his brain playing tricks on him.
Or potentially another way. This would be if they wanted to take a darker spin that wouldn't necessarily have as much direct connection at first glance to the mental issues.
Okay.
But let's say he gets a sense beforehand that she's going to be killed. And so he's like, oh shit, I'm going to try and save her. He gets this idea that he's basically going to, she gets into his taxi. He's not going to take her to the place, right? Or something like that, and that's why he, in this mental construct he ends up having, it seems to be kind of almost like a kidnapping of some kind.
Sure.
But it didn't end up working out. The people got to her or whatever. Who knows, right? I don't know, but because the fact that it's still this mysterious, that we still know so little about what's going on, even though the details are starting to become clearer, and that they very much are connected, even if we don't see how they're connected. That's a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, Otokawa seems to be like the final piece of the puzzle that we, for the last little bit, haven't been getting extra definition to what his puzzle piece was. And this episode feels like it's here's a lot more of a picture of what's going on here, because of the way he manipulated Little Daimon to basically help him here was pretty impressive. Like all that logic and stuff was like very effective. Now, it was a comedy scene in a lot of ways as well, because Little Daimon is hilarious in the way he's so black and white.
Yep.
Haha, pun intended.
Right.
And literally the raccoons wearing the little masks and stuff. So I
Well,
love the idea of the tie back, though, into the little minor flashback of why we hate taxi drivers, basically.
Yep.
And it's,
right. Yeah, I'm glad we got that, because that's
one mystery kind of resolved.
Right, basically. That's one mystery resolved, and as far as the Daimon brothers, they were introduced very early on in the show, and we haven't really seen a lot of them recently, and Big Daimon is a lot simpler because he's the crooked cop, right? It's kind of, archetype, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But for Little Daimon, the idea that, you have a brother who you're a cop with, identical twin and all that stuff, and he's the crooked one, and you don't know, right? and because of, either just, being not too bright or turning, like, subconsciously turning a blind eye, or, who knows, right? You have not clued into that yet. That's a very interesting dynamic for me, right? Like, and when he was there with his brother afterwards, and he's like, oh
shit, I can kind of tell.
I can kind of see it. Yeah. And of course, until then, right? He, when Otokawa brings it up, he's like, you really think I'd believe you over my brother? Of course not, No. But Otokawa was like, well, hold on now. I want to make sure that I am also okay, so don't go telling him anything. I can, let me draw it out for you in this diagram, right? But, now I'm actually thinking that Little Daimon might have a fairly big part to play in this show.
I think he's going to have a really big part to play, yeah.
And I did not think that originally. I thought he was just kind of like the foil to show how, how bad Big Daimon is and how good he is at basically keeping from getting caught.
Yeah,
right?
I think Little Daimon is going to be the one to make the arrest of whoever the murderer is.
Sure.
Like, I think he's going to be rewarded with that for being the one that sticks to the true guns of this whole situation. Not guns in that sense, but basically he's going to stick to his ideals of justice.
Fighting evil,
Right, whereas our resident YouTuber egomaniac, he's not really about that, but it's just craving attention.
Oh yeah, like even when the like assuming that was him that basically saw them beating up the person.
Oh, that was absolutely him.
Yeah, I totally think that was him.
Absolutely.
Because cosplay has been brought up, I'm just leaving out the opportunity that it could be like that 2% chance that it's someone else, right? But but he was totally just like filming the whole thing, not trying to get help or anything or whatever. It's just this is content. Somebody is getting the shit beaten out of him. That's fine.
To make a reference to another YouTuber.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was like, what is that from? But
that dead body over there. Yup. Yeah. On the side of things though with Dobu, getting this all set up to where this would have happened on Halloween would have worked relatively well, but it seems like the power of the internet is far stronger in the other way by having so many of them wearing skull masks.
Yep.
Which is weird because that was what was his name? Tanaka?
Yeah. But because probably he got the
boosting,
the signal boost of the internet, right?
Like his brand is
exactly. Now
tying it to Dobu.
Now people, just do that because.
Yeah, which is really creepy.
Yeah. Like as just a writing trick, basically having something where you're looking for a character, but you don't actually know what they look like. They just have an outfit. And then, Halloween or a convention or something like that.
Right.
And suddenly there's 32 Pikachus or,
exactly
or whatever,
like
right?
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh shit, what do we do?
Right.
I love that. Like, that's great to me.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
There were a lot of kind of random little moments this episode that definitely felt like, oh, this is clearly set up for, like, future stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One's the idea that, Kakihana is someone that Yano knows really potentially well here.
Right, because he was a mark that they were working, apparently.
But also because Kakihana is friends with Dobu.
Oh.
So it's actually an indirect way by which they might be specifically trying to get Dobu here.
I didn't think about that. I thought it was just
remember
something
at the beginning when they were at the restaurant?
Yeah,
and they were like, oh, our friend Dobu, yeah.
Yeah, like,
he's not that bad of a person.
Right, like, he's at the very least an acquaintance of ours, Yeah. Right. And that's a good point. It could totally be that. I assumed it was just the Yano got the file on, like, this is the person who owes us money that we're gonna need to figure out how to make them pay.
And it was like, oh, cool, this is someone we can definitely...
Right. Yeah, and it's like okay, cool. And, if he is that good with organizing his raps, then I absolutely believe that he would read all the memos, in time for the business meetings, right?
Oh, for sure, sure.
But
the other one is basically how just Nikaido is really not in a good mood.
No, she's not.
Like, things...
I'm not happy, Bob.
Yeah. Things have been going in such a way to where I'm like, I'm waiting for her to snap. Like, she kind of did at, what's her name?
Shiho?
Shiho, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like...
Right, because one of the things that I thought was kind of odd is the idea that... Well, yeah, I guess it makes perfect sense, actually, that she was so in the know about the whole, the whatever they called the con of, okay, you find the people on the dating apps and all that stuff, and we get money out of them, that whole thing.
Right.
Because that's how the idols that aren't as popular bring money in for the business, right? But that she was just like, that's part of your job. Why aren't you doing it, right?
What is your point?
Like that doesn't even, that takes away some of the vibe that I would get of like, this is something they're being coerced to do because Yano, helped fund them early on or something like that, right?
Sure.
Like, no. This is just part of their business, right? And it's cutthroat.
And it's not like, what are you like how are you going to make enough money? It's like, well, what good are you beyond that?
Right.
Basically pointing at, in a very subtle way, I think, the idea that Mai was basically noticing that the dancing quality of the other members wasn't necessarily up to snuff, because it's like, they're not there necessarily just to be dancers or even accompaniments to an Ikaido.
They have side jobs.
They have side jobs that are their main priority.
Sure.
Which is, I just gotta say, that is bloody brilliant in how twisted it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Like, are you talking from the writing angle or imagining that happening in real life?
I could totally see that happening in real life constantly.
Yep. And because
absolutely.
There, like, I've heard about how, similar-ish things to this can go. Like, I've seen the videos of like the host clubs, or something like that, right? Where they have the
S word that ends in P. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Or where you have the meetings of like, okay, whose numbers are highest, right? Like specifically in like the Japan work culture of how it's like, you're bottom of the list, okay, right? That's, well, what value do you bring to the table, right? But the idea that could get so twisted that it's no, we're going to do whatever the hell this is. I'm actually legitimately very curious how exactly the money flows in order to make this work.
Weaponized simping.
Yeah.
So these are simps that get pimped, basically. Like,
right.
Where it's like, this is really gross.
Yep.
Because it's the kind of thing where, on the one hand, Kakihana's a fucking idiot.
Oh, he absolutely is. But being a dumbass is not a crime.
No, it's not. But what you do in your dumbassery can end up getting you in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And Kakihana doesn't deserve any of this, but he definitely made his choices that will lead to these consequences.
Yep.
So it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I gotta say, Kakihana, I don't have much sympathy for you. I feel bad in that, like, you could end up dead by the end of this show. But also,
but you borrowed money from
you're kind of a stupid idiot here.
Yeah, borrowing money from a bank, that's a poor financial decision.
Yeah.
Getting money from the
loan
mob,
shark.
Yeah, that's there's a gap
you need
between
friends,
those
you need
two.
family to come in and slap you,
and
be like, hey, wake up. What are you doing?
To be fair, what the interest rate that he seemed to be getting on those loans were actually pretty good for loan sharks. Like, that was basically just credit card interest rates. But, there were a lot of letters.
There were, exactly.
There were a lot of letters.
So that's the whole thing there. We'll have that setup potentially go into an area where Otokawa, being shown as someone that is willing to step, on the mine to basically save someone else, could end up needing to save Kakihana from a similar situation, putting him even more in with Dobu, and then turning this into a mild gang war. I am very excited about the ways things could escalate in that regard. And Otokawa almost having his little thing of, like, here's my special skill, like, here's my thing that I can do. Also, in the episode where they kind of reminded us about
his mental instability.
He has some mental instability. He might literally have a mental illness of sorts.
Well, and also...
thus, he has a superpower that is kind of like a mini brain power of sorts.
Right, yeah. The other thing...
that's definitely connected.
The other thing that I thought was kind of funny is when he's saying all this stuff to Dobu, since he just had, previously in this episode, the conversation with Little Daimon about how, no, I want to fuck over Dobu royally, right? I want to bring him low. How much of what he's saying to him is legit versus trying to guide him, manipulate him, whatever, right? Get him to depend on him, right? Because if you say, I'm really good at this thing, and you take it to the degree of it's almost like my own little power, you're kind of saying, it doesn't make sense, but I can do it, so just trust me.
Yeah, it kind of is.
And that could get Dobu into a world of
so much
trouble. Like,
yeah. In a lot of ways,
God.
it's another callback to the thing Big Diamond said was that this guy lies all the time.
Oh, yeah, taxi drivers lie. That's what
well, right, but also this one specifically.
Oh,
He's
sure.
nothing but lies. Like,
yeah.
So there's the possibility that it's the typical way in which the Big Daimon is manipulating the little Daimon to never see
Don't
him
trust
in a
this
negative
guy,
light.
yeah.
Right, because you need to always trust me.
Right.
But there could be some truth to what he's saying in that it's not that he's necessarily just lying. It's that he's like, oh, I also am having like actual issues that propagate my lying as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the whole thing of Big Diamond trying to get Little Diamond to depend on him so wholly, one of the things that I think did a really good job of helping reinforce that was done for comedy, but also is kind of terrifying, is when Otokawa was like, just shut up and listen. Right?
Yeah.
And then he had to remind Little Daimon twice, if you don't understand something, you can ask a question, right?
Right.
You don't actually need to completely shut up. I just have something important I need to say, right?
Exactly.
The fact that he was genuinely like surprised by that and confused by that means that, well, he's probably used to that literally being the case, which is all sorts of messed up.
There's all kinds of crazy. Yeah.
Were you also, I'm guessing, looking for just like, okay, is there anyone in the crowd that's going to be like randomly shown that's like, okay, there's Tanaka.
There's so many times where you just see random characters just in the background. You're like, wait a minute, we've already seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, have we? Right? Yeah. Disguises, costumes,
this
all that
show
stuff.
is really good with continuity. Like, there's a lot of little things where I'm like, wait, holy shit, wait, what? Why is that there? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Like, I kind of recognized Banana Bear or something.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah.
Huh.
Like he kind of looks familiar for some reason.
Interesting.
But, like, I don't think it's anyone we've seen before necessarily, like with a name or anything. It just I thought I've seen that person before.
But yeah, just to kind of circle back around to the beginning of the discussion, because I think it's worth mentioning twice. Yano, my God, he is so entertaining.
So entertaining.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that we went through half of the show and didn't even really meet him, you know? And now all of a sudden he just makes his entrance. Like, it feels like he's just being really fashionably late, you know? And I'm here for it.
I'm absolutely
here for it. Yeah.
What do you think Yano is planning? Because he seems to be building up to something every time he's rapping. Like, he's rapping towards some kind of great finale.
Right, he's figured out the key phrases and lines that he needs to have in there.
Well, right, but he's also literally talking about, like, the violence of the present is just a preview. You know, like,
sure.
I've got something, it's going to happen again, I'll see it all the way through.
He's so hopped up on his own hype that he's constantly kind of expositing about his own intentions.
His vision. He's like, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm happening.
I'm like he is a
he's his own hype man.
No, right, but maybe a weird stab, but you remember that guy in Die Hard that would like snort the cocaine and everything and tried to talk with Rickman's character, you know? Like and be like, hey, you know, you're happening, right? Like that. I feel like that's Yano, but Yano is a bit more serious.
And like look at
right.
Like, yeah, and then he's like,
oh, you figured that all out yourself, you know, right? Like
impressive.
But because Yano absolutely believes that he is just that.
I
awesome.
am the hype,
right? And so of course Dobu, you know, is like, wait a minute, I'm actually a little bit nervous about this because he is ridiculously dedicated to what he's doing.
But also, he's got a tick. He cleans his hands.
Right.
While wearing gloves.
Yeah, before putting on the gloves. Yeah. Like, he is thorough. Like maybe paranoid.
Yeah, in some ways, I want to put it out there. I don't think Yano is capable of murder. That's too gross.
Oh, no, not him personally. He'd just, like, tell someone to do it, maybe. He rides around on a scooter and shit.
But I actually think the twist is that Yano is also potentially not, related at all to the murderer. It might be Nakaido and it's just she did it on her own.
He accidentally caused the murder without realizing it because he's like, you need to get me the money, right? Like,
Oh, sure.
and then all of the, like, it almost feels like the oh god, the Bacano thing where it's like the take care of the car, and it's like when they said take care of the car, you mean like kill everybody inside, just like make sure no one leaves, or like get them all to like get on the ground,
And then they all jump into the train car at the
Right.
same time with completely different interpretations as to
get on the ground, don't move, hands in the air.
yeah, and then and then Isaac and Mira do all three.
Right. Don't move.
Don't move. Yeah.
Yano's just such a chaos factor. I could see his place in the story being literally anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there because like I've just been thinking about him like just
In the past 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, this guy. It feels like another big red herring.
Sure.
Like this guy is ambitious.
He's in his own world.
He's riding a kid scooter. Like he's literally
with a business suit and gloves and everything while he's going to a mob meeting.
He's like, hey, apologize to me. I'm hot shit.
Yeah, well,
and I won't be upset if you apologize, because that's just my due respect that you give.
He seemed like he literally was just wanting an apology, just because that's what you should do, not because
he's not like
you've hurt my ego or something.
Right.
It's just, dude, come on, you do that. Okay, cool. I understand where you're coming from, and you've got your own stuff and everything, but like, all right, see ya, peace. Like. I love him.
Yeah,
I love him so much.
I'm just calling it now.
Yano
did nothing wrong. Like,
but I could see him accidentally having caused this.
I could see it in his ambition. Someone in his influence, did something that related
that they thought
to
like he would be really
murdered.
Glad about or something. And now the reason why no one knows who did it is because they just kept quiet and they're like, oh shit, he didn't want me to do that.
I gotta say though, I was a little worried when they were pulling up the body that might have been
Shirakawa.
Is her name Shirakawa?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be like, oh no,
actually not.
That was actually out of sync timeline wise, and
no.
I was. Because and they even said like, oh, teens to 30s potentially, right? Which I'm guessing is
definitely the high school.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's just water, bloating body, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
because we also saw her with Goriki and stuff, so
yeah, exactly. Right.
But okay, very good setup episode. I'm really excited where things go in like too. The immediate next one, because I feel like we were given a couple new questions that are like, oh, but these questions only have a few types of things that could be the answer.
Gotcha.
And it's just the question of, well, based on which one they go through, that then leads to new questions. So yeah, we're definitely halfway through this story.
We are indeed.
Feel it. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.